Hello everybody, this is Gareth Cahoon Speaks back here with another video. I'd like you to hit the subscribe bar, give me a thumbs up if you like the video, or hit the notification bell to be notified when I post my next post. Or otherwise you can donate to my ministry and the charities that I support at garethcahoon3@gmail.com on PayPal. This one here is about the shadow war inside Russia's hybrid assault against NATO. NATO officials warn Russia is already waging war with the Western alliance, with a constant campaign of under-the-radar attacks against its eastern flank. A shadow conflict fought through cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, drone incursions and more. At the border of Belarus and Poland, you can see a tangible example of Russia's hybrid warfare. A €1 billion barrier wall built starting in 2022 when Moscow began pushing thousands of migrants through. Successive Polish governments have had to build a technical barrier, a strong fence, which we have now reinforced with cameras, underground sensors, a technical road alongside border patrols. Polish Minister of Foreign Affairs Radosław Sikorski said National Security Correspondent Caitlin Burke during a recent media study tour sponsored by several NATO eastern flank countries. At the height of the crisis, more than 37,000 migrants attempted to cross to Poland from Belarus. Officials admit this tactic exposed a new reality. Poland and other eastern flank states are at hybrid war with Russia, explained Poland's Deputy Defense Minister Paweł Zalewski. Since Russia doesn't need tanks or missiles to create instability, the wall is more than just a border barrier. Poland uses it as a front-line defence for one of its key gateways to both the European Union and the broader Western alliance. Russia's hybrid campaign, though, isn't limited to NATO's land borders. From Belarus side, we're facing weather balloons incursions into our airspace and disturbing our civil airports. From Russia, we're facing also air incursions of our airspace with jets. Robertas Kanunas, Lithuania's Minister of National Defence, said the concern is less about any single incursion and more about the cumulative effect testing responses, creating disruption and keeping governments on the edge. Just one day after we spoke with Kanunas, a suspected drone was reported near the border with Belarus, prompting an order for all to take shelter as NATO jets responded. Lask Air Base supports some of those NATO missions. Polish pilots, part of the alliance's larger deterrence effort along the eastern flank, patrol the skies of the region, deployed to cover ballistic states that don't have their own air force, train with American pilots and gather intelligence. Lieutenant Colonel Peter Namwyslowski commands a small US Air Force base on task, helping support American pilots who rotate through Poland. While training engagements are important, Namwyslowski says relationships built there have proven just as valuable. When Ukraine was about to be invaded in February of 2022, I walked into the base commander's office at the time, and I walked into their office and told them, we're about to go full send from the US air component perspective on the eastern flank of NATO. And they asked me, Pete, what do you need? And I give them this laundry list of things that were just absurd. And they said, cool. And we do, when do you need it by? And I said yesterday, and they said, Pete, you already and always had it, and that's the relationship that we have here, he explained. Those relationships take on an even greater importance as the countries in the region face growing pressure from Russia. Both Polish and Lithuanian officials said that what matters most is the crisis isn't troop numbers, it's the confidence that NATO allies, including the United States, would stand together. At Camp Herkus, a base in Lithuania, US troops train alongside other NATO allies on a near constant basis, part of a larger deterrence strategy along the eastern flank. While on the base, we were able to witness the US Army wrapping up Project Flytrap, a joint exercise aimed at testing drone protection systems in the field. More than 8,000 troops from 8 nations operationalised in the Eastern Flank Deterrence Initiative. We are turning NATO's increased investment into real war-fighting capability, said Brigadier General John Mountford, Deputy Commander General, Readiness US Army V Corp. The exercise reflects lessons learned from Ukraine, where low-cost drones have transformed the battlefield. Officials quickly warned, however, that not every threat can be countered with new technology or military force. Hybrid warfare often operates below the threshold of traditional conflict, allowing adversaries to create disruption in grey areas where a conventional military response can be difficult to justify. Right now, one of Moscow's most effective weapons is disinformation. In Warsaw, analysts and NASK, Poland's National Research Institute, track what they describe as a constant stream coming from Russia. The most damaging narratives are definitely that NATO has no capabilities of defending our own, that it's an obsolete, old fashioned, weakened organisation, and that Poland and other countries on the eastern flank might be abandoned in case of any serious kinetic threat. NASC senior threat analyst Patricia Karsbach said Moscow's goal, they say, isn't convincing people of a single narrative. It's to create confusion, deepen division, and erode trust in governments, institutions, and even alliances. After spending 2 weeks along NATO's eastern flank, Burke says one message emerged repeatedly. Officials aren't just preparing for attacks from Russian missiles, tanks, or troops. They're focusing on conflict that's already playing out online, in the air, at the border, and across society itself. And they say their strongest defence is simple: a united alliance. And they're probably saying this at the minute because Trump has threatened to pull US troops from NATO, because NATO didn't help in the war with Iran. So NATO needs to get stronger and defend not just their borders, but the United States gives most of the budget for NATO. So NATO should be beside, in front, and behind the United States all the way in whatever action it takes. Because fair is fair. Shalom, Maranatha, and Hallelujah.